And I live every day like if I hit the brakes and I'll crash. If I met my girl 1 year earlier, would she wait for me to come back?
What's up, everybody? SS12 Josh here, and today I'm going to go over my graphic novels and trade paperbacks that I picked up this year. So mainly I do individual issues. I don't pick up too many trades a year, but I decided to go over some of the ones I got. It's only, I guess, like 7 or 8 trades I got this year. And a lot of times what I'll do is I'll have a story that I like a whole lot, and I'll read it. I'll go read it through the first time through the individual issues. And if it's a book that I know that I'm going to want to read over and over again, I'll pick up the trade so I don't have to worry about messing up the individual issues. Sometimes, as you'll see, I'll get a book straight from trade that I haven't gotten any individual issues of yet. But that's not something I do very often. But anyway, getting into it. So the first book I'm going to show is Skyward. This is actually the only independent book that I have on here. Actually, I take that back. It's not the only independent book, but it is the only image book that I have on here. And this series is just very, very good. And this is an example of a time where I don't actually have the individual issues, but I read it through trade. And it's just great. Basically, this is a book about what if the world lost gravity. What would happen, if there's no gravity. There's huge dragonflies. Rain is deadly. It's really, really cool. The art is really nice. It's like, I don't want to show that page, but I don't know how to explain it. It's not what I would consider like super mega high quality art in terms of like super detailed, but it fits the story perfectly. And it's one of my favorite books for the year, actually. I highly, highly, highly recommend Skyward. And for the most part, it's pretty all ages friendly, I would say. So if you have like a younger person that you would want to get this book for, I mean, I would still recommend reading through it first, just to make sure. But for the most part, I don't really notice anything too like over the top. But it's just a really great story. This first volume really just talks about Willa, who's the main character, and her relationship with her dad. And it's just great. So I really highly recommend Skyward. This is actually probably one of my favorite comics of the year, and you will definitely see this in my top picks of the year video that I make later. So going on to my most recent pickup, which I got this I think 3 weeks ago or 2 weeks ago, it is Mary, Queen of Atlantis. So I went ahead and actually read this series before picking up this trade. Because the series actually ended, I think September or something like that. But I think they pushed back the trade because they want to wait until the Aquaman movie to kind of release this alongside that. But this story was fantastic. I'm a big Dan Abnett fan. I like his writing a lot. And this story was just so good. It basically made me a Mara fan. And not only is the story great, but the art inside is just absolutely fantastic as well. It's Lan Medina. And his art is just super detailed. It's great. It's really good art. It's basically, this story takes place alongside Aquaman, and it's basically saying how Mera is going to take back the throne of Atlantis. It's really cool. She has a team up with Orm, so you can kind of guess how that might go. But it's just a fantastic book. I really liked Mera, Queen of Atlantis. Like, I considered it a 5 out of 5. I don't know if anybody uses leagueofcomicgeeks.com. But you can rate the weekly books, and I gave multiple issues of this a 5 out of 5. This was another one of my favorite books of the year. There's only 6 issues. It's a 6-issue miniseries, but I highly recommend reading Mary, Queen of Atlantis. It was very good. So I picked up the trade because I know I'm going to want to read through this multiple times. I can't talk about how good Mary, Queen of Atlantis was. So going on, obviously, I'm going to have some Star Wars stuff. So this is Darth Maul. I actually got this, I think, right at a year ago. I think I got it last January, and it's just a fantastic book. It's really good. It basically it's another 6-issue mini or 5-issue. I can't remember. It's either 5 or 6 issues, and it's just really cool. It just shows you how Darth Maul. I don't want to spoil anything, but basically it takes place before Phantom Menace. So this is young Darth Maul, his first real mission, I guess you could say. And it's just really interesting. The art is good. It's not the best art I've seen, but it fits with the tone of the story. Darth Maul is really dark. So, it's just pretty cool. I really like the story. This is actually probably my favorite book of Marvel so far when it comes to Star Wars. Definitely my favorite mini, I should say. But yeah, it's really, really good. Highly recommend reading Darth Maul. So another book, which is Darth Maul, Son of Dathomir. So this book is interesting because this was initially released under Dark Horse, and Marvel reprinted it, mainly because this was the only Star Wars Dark Horse comic to maintain its canon status after Marvel took over. And that's because this comic series is based off of some unreleased Clone Wars episodes, and obviously the Clone Wars is canon. So this is only 4 issues, but it's pretty solid. Basically, it shows you what happens to Darth Maul after he confronts Emperor Palpatine in the last season, or second to last season of the Clone Wars. After Palpatine goes and fights Savage and Darth Maul. So it shows you what happens after that. It's solid. The art in it isn't the best. The art in it isn't as good as the other Darth Maul book. It's not terrible. None of these books have awful art. Like, none of these books have art where it's so bad you can't enjoy the story. But it's not the best. But still, the story is solid. It's definitely not the best Star Wars book I've read this year. But if you're a Darth Maul fan, if you're a Clone Wars fan, I'd still recommend it. So X-Men Gold. So this isn't really a new book. I think X-Men Gold started in early 2017. I didn't start reading it until this year, obviously, so I think it was early 2017, but I don't remember. But this is volume 1 of X-Men Gold. I know a lot of people didn't like X-Men Gold, but I liked it. I really liked the first, 20 or so issues. And then once the setup to the wedding between Kitty Pryde and Colossus started, it kind of started falling off. And then all the issues after the wedding, I didn't think were that great. But I would say the first 3 or 4 volumes of X-Men Gold were pretty good. I like them a lot. And so this is volume 1. This is issues 1 through 6. Art's pretty solid. I think it's actually multiple artists. I don't think X-Men Gold ever had like a set artist who did, a lot of issues at once. I think that was one of the main problems with X-Men Gold, is it had a lot of different artists. But the art in this particular volume wasn't bad. X-Men Gold to me felt the most like traditional X-Men when it comes to the colored series. So you have X-Men Blue, X-Men Gold, X-Men Red. X-Men Gold, especially the first couple of volumes, felt the most X-Men-y to me, I guess, because Kitty was running the academy and stuff, so you still had the school and all that stuff. But it was solid. I liked it. I wouldn't say I liked it as much as X-Men Blue, which I'll get on into my favorite comics of the year, but it was pretty good. So now getting into some books that I picked up. So this first book I'm going to show you I picked up online, and the last 2 I picked up from my local used bookstore. So this is Dawn of the Jedi Force War. So this is volume 3 of Dawn of the Jedi. This is from Dark Horse, so this is not canon anymore. This also features art from my favorite artist in all of comics. She doesn't do a whole lot of stuff anymore, but I absolutely love the art in this book. It's just amazing. The art is by Jander Sema. She is my favorite comic artist ever. The art is just, it's amazing. I don't think you could get any more close to perfect comic art than this. Mary Queen of Atlantis is really good, I thought too, but Jander Sema, her art is just absolutely amazing. So this book takes place, I want to say 25,000 years before the movies. So this is a mega prequel. This is a prequel to the prequels, basically. And this is the final volume. Just look at this art, man. This is the final volume of this book. Sadly, this book only lasted three volumes because it got canceled right as Marvel was getting the rights. But this was a really solid book. I highly recommend reading Dawn of the Jedi if you're a Star Wars fan. And the art in it is fantastic. John Ostrander, I think, also wrote it. And anything you see with John Ostrander. The Ostrander and Drusilla pairing, that duo was amazing when it comes to Star Wars. I don't think they ever made anything bad together. So I highly recommend Dawn of the Jedi. One of my favorite comic series. And I'm glad to have the final volume. Very good. Volume 1's kind of pricey online, so if you want to pick that up, I suggest if you see it somewhere for a good price, scoop it up, because Volume 1 goes online for like $80. And that's kind of a lot for, a 5-issue trade. So this one I picked up from Ed McKay, which is a used bookstore here. And this is Tales of the Jedi. So this is the first volume of Tales of the Jedi. Tales of the Jedi takes place, I think, 6,000 years before the movies, I want to say. This is a book from the 90s, so the art is definitely very 90s. But it's not terrible. It's not so bad where you can't enjoy it. It's definitely not bad. It's not like Jim Lee art from the 90s or anything like that, but it's solid. And it's a really good story, I thought. This is, I think, this was the third series I think Dark Horse made after they finally got the rights to Star Wars behind Dark Empire. It's definitely, there's some ridiculousness to it. It's definitely early Star Wars still, to where there's some things like some character names like I can't remember off the top of my head that are really silly, but it's fun, and there's something just still endearing about it, and it's Star Wars fun. The planet Onderon is first introduced in this, and if you watch the Clone Wars, that planet makes an appearance on the Clone Wars, so that's pretty cool. And there are some really, I mean, some pages do have, some pretty cool stuff on it, like that's like a bug ship, so it's pretty cool. But yeah, if you're a Star Wars fan, if you really like the history of Star Wars, I should say, I would really highly recommend reading these Tales of the Jedi books, because these are really early in the history of Star Wars as you know it today. And then I picked up Tales of the Jedi Sith War, which I think was either the second or third story arc in the Tales of the Jedi series. I think it was the second. The art in Sith War is a little bit better than the art in Knights of the Old Republic. It's pretty good, actually. And I should say, both of these Tales of the Jedis, I have the individual issues as well. But I wanted to read these over and over again, so I wanted the trades. But Tales of the Jedi is a favorite of mine. It's very, very good. So, I mean, it's really one of those things where if you like Star Wars, I think you'll probably like it. If you're not a Star Wars fan, you might not necessarily enjoy it, because outside the vein of it being Star Wars, I don't know if you'll love it. If you like 90s campy, like science fiction type stuff, then you really like it. It also has the first appearance of a double-bladed lightsaber. I don't know if you guys knew that. Darth Maul was not the first person to have a double-bladed lightsaber. It was actually Extra-Kun. And it's pretty cool, so. Yeah, if you like the older video games like KOTOR and then the SWTOR MMO, you really like that series. A lot of the stuff they mention in those games first shows up in Tales of the Jedi. But yeah, those are the trades I picked up this year. Not many, because I'm definitely mainly an individual issue guy. But I love all of those books. None of those were bad. So if you're looking at getting any of those, I would recommend all of them. So I'm glad I didn't pick up anything I thought was bad this year. But later on, you might see I'm trying to do a video on my favorite comics of the year, and then I might do a series on my favorite actual comic series, as a series as a whole of the year. So look out for those. Thanks for watching the video, and I'll see you guys later.